We are very happy to ask for the Township Council support for our fiscal year 2023 municipal budget. The most important aspect of this budget is that it holds the line on municipal property taxes in Woodbridge for the next year. There is a zero municipal property tax increase in this budget for the first time in many years. Quite simply, now is not the time to be raising taxes on our residents and businesses, given the significant inflation of recent months. People are struggling to make ends meet and are forced to make very difficult decisions about spending money, often choosing between food and medications. We are very fortunate to be in a strong financial position with a surplus balance of over $29 million, our highest ever. We have been fiscally prudent, as evidenced by our AA+ bond rating from Standard & Poor's. We have watched our spending and kept our increases within state limits, despite growing pension costs over which we have no control. Perhaps the biggest reason for our strong financial picture, however, has been our aggressive economic development efforts led by Carolyn Ehrlich, Marta Lefsky, and Heather LaMotta. Our new power plants, warehouse projects, office buildings, and downtown luxury apartment complexes have provided millions and millions of dollars into our municipal budgets for many years. In this budget, we have anticipated over $22 million from pilot agreements, payments in lieu of taxes. Hardly a council meeting goes by when someone is not complaining about pilots and deliberately trying to mislead the public into thinking that these projects pay little or no property taxes. They most certainly do, and that is why everyday taxpayers are not seeing a tax increase this year. The $22 million in pilot revenue in the fiscal 2023 budget covers the $8 million in debt service on our 2017 and 2020 school district referendum projects and our previous athletic field improvements paid for by township bonds. The balance of the pilot revenue goes toward everything else in the budget, like police, public works, health, and recreation. The $22 million in pilot revenue is the equivalent of $525 to every home in Woodbridge Township using average assessments. That's $525 that does not come out of the pockets of our hardworking residents because the money is paid mostly by power plants and warehouses. And within a few years, our pilot number will be over $30 million and provide over $700 of tax relief to every home in Woodbridge every year for the next 20+ years. This budget also plans for our future by providing funding for over $10 million in capital projects so that we do not have to finance these improvements, and also provides for paydowns of another $20 million in debt, including over $9 million that is optional. This will provide further financial relief in future budgets by eliminating costly interest charges. We also have over $4 million in grants for specific township projects, with the promise of many more millions in the coming months. Having been directly involved in 28 different municipal budgets in Woodbridge Township as Chief Financial Officer and Mayor, is enough experience to say that this is the best budget we have seen during those years. The work that went into its preparation was amazing, and we have a terrific team to thank for that effort. Our current Chief Financial Officer, Manny Fernandez, along with Deputy CFO Mike Klepchik and Accountant Katie Mullen, spent hundreds of hours starting in the spring to put together this fabulous document. They now start the process of managing the budget, trying not to spend money we have authorized, while making sure we collect the revenue we have anticipated while searching for more. Our business administrator, Vito Samaluka, and his deputy, Casey Wagner, oversaw the creation of this budget by holding dozens of meetings with the best governmental leaders in the state of New Jersey, our department and division heads right here in Woodbridge. This great group of men and women each have dozens of years working in Woodbridge, and they know what they are doing, and it is reflected in the zero tax increase budget. Vito and Casey's hard work should not go unrecognized. We also thank each of our council people for your continued support of our financial plans and our economic development efforts. There is little that we can do as an administration in the executive branch of government without the cooperation of our legislative branch, the Township Council, and you have always provided that support. Finally, we thank the members of the public because we asked you to trust us that we were making prudent decisions about the future of Woodbridge Township, and you did. And now you see why. You trusted that we could manage the township's finances and bring in more projects to ease the tax burden you face. You trusted us that we could deliver the best sanitation and recycling pickups and best road maintenance and reconstruction around, with snow plowing that is the envy of every town around us. You trusted us to build a nationally accredited police force and see the benefits of new recreational facilities like the club at Woodbridge, the Acacia Youth Center, the Cypress Recreation Center, and the Oak Tree and Maple Tree Senior Centers. You especially trusted us during the last 30 months of the COVID pandemic, and you watched our health department shine like no other. You got your shots and your boosters in an incredibly friendly and professional environment. You were informed of everything we knew about COVID daily at first and now weekly, and you consistently thanked our team and offered words of encouragement. You grieved with us at our ceremony for victims of COVID who could not have proper funerals, and you celebrated with us as college seniors had a graduation ceremony which their schools could not offer. You are the reason we work so hard, and we are immensely proud to deliver a municipal budget with no tax increase to you. When people disparage us and don't tell the truth about our motives and our actions, it is very disappointing. But this is about more than just a handful of people repeating the same nonsense meeting after meeting. Now you all know that what we have said all along is true. This budget improves your quality of life within Woodbridge Township and offers more programs and services to our seniors, our children, and our families while holding the line on property taxes. Thank you once again for your support as we continue to strive to make Woodbridge the best town around.
Please rise for a salute to our flag and remain standing for a moment of silence for our military personnel serving here in the borough. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Mr. Mitch.
Notice the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger published a notice in accordance with law. Was posted on the municipal bulletin board and should be so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Councilman Spiller.
Here.
Councilwoman Meehan.
Here.
Councilman Patel. Councilman Anderson.
Here.
Councilwoman De Jesus.
Here.
Councilman Small.
Here.
Councilwoman McCullough.
Here.
Vice President Ficarra.
Here.
And President Bauer.
Here.
At this time, Council, you have items in front of you. We are going to take the ordinance for the budget cap, to exceed the budget cap. Can I get a motion to take this ordinance about second and third reading and the public hearing be opened?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on the ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit and to establish a bank cap bank. Here are no comment from the public. Can I get a motion that the public comment portion be closed? The ordinance be submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law.
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. This time I entertain a motion to open the public comment portion on the fiscal year 2023 budget or any other comments at this time.
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public comment period for the municipal budget for 2023 is now open for any other subject matter at this time. Here are no other comment. Can I get a motion to close the public comment portion of the meeting?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. I'm going to first go through the amendment resolution. You want some? first? Okay. We're going to take resolution number 1. Just bear with me on the amendments, please. Starting with the current fund under general revenue, surplus anticipated, going from $16,949,879.99 to $16,976,399. Under miscellaneous revenues, number 3, total section B going from $24,564,129 to $24,446,048. Going to total section G with prior consent of the Director of Local Division of Government Services from $35,670,020 to $36,541,249 for a total miscellaneous revenues from $79,823,859 to $80,577,007. Under number 5, subtotal for the general revenues will go from $100,573,738.99 to $101,353,307.99. Under total general revenues, from $205,859,734.25 to $206,639,305.25. Under general appropriations, operations within cap going from $24,822,915 to $24,446,426. Under the detail, dropping down to the other expenses, going from $54,108,533 to $53,732,044. Under deferred charges and statutory expenditures within caps, under the PFRS, going from $8,263,942 to $8,620,000. Deferred charges from within caps from $18,760,951 to $19,117,009. Total general appropriations for municipal purposes within caps from $143,529,675 to $143,509,244. Dropping down to B, operations excluded from caps, capital improvement, various building improvements from $8,900,000 to $9,700,000. On the total general appropriations from $205,859,734.25 to $206,639,303.25. And I get a motion to approve number 1, resolution number 1.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The next one I have is resolution number 2, which is if I can get a motion to adopt the municipal budget for 2023 as amended.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. We appreciate the Township Council's support tonight for our fiscal year 2023 municipal budget. The most important aspect of this budget is that it holds the line on municipal property taxes in Woodbridge for the next year. There is a 0 municipal property tax increase in this budget for the first time in many years. Quite simply, now is not the time to be raising taxes on our residents, given the significant inflation of recent months. People are struggling to make ends meet and are forced to make very difficult decisions about spending money, often choosing between food and medications. We are very fortunate to be in a strong financial position with a surplus balance of over $29 million, our highest ever. We have been fiscally prudent as evidenced by our AA+ bond rating from Standard & Poor's. We have watched our spending and kept our increases within state limits, despite growing pension costs over which we have no control. Perhaps the biggest reason for our strong financial picture, however, has been our aggressive economic development efforts led by Carolyn Ehrlich, Martalewski, and Heather LaMotta. Our new power plants, warehouse projects, office buildings, and downtown luxury apartment complexes have provided millions and millions of dollars into our municipal budgets for many years. In this budget, we have anticipated over $22 million from pilot agreements, payments in lieu of taxes. Hardly a meeting goes by when someone is not complaining about pilots and deliberately trying to mislead the public into thinking that these projects pay little or no property taxes. They most certainly do pay plenty of property taxes, and that is why everyday residential taxpayers are not seeing a tax increase this year. The $22 million in pilot revenue for the fiscal 23 budget covers the $8 million in debt service on our 2017 and 2020 school district referendum projects and our previous athletic field improvements paid for by township bonds. The balance of the pilot revenue goes toward everything else in the budget like police, public works, health, and recreation. The $22 million in pilot revenue is the equivalent of $525 to every home in Woodbridge Township using average assessments. That's $525 that does not come out of the pockets of our hardworking residents because the money is paid mostly by power plants and warehouses. And within a few years, our pilot number will be over $30 million and provide over $700 of tax relief to every home in Woodbridge every year for the next 20 years. This budget also plans for our future by providing funding for over $10 million in capital projects so that we do not have to finance these improvements, and also provides for paydowns of another $20 million in debt, including over $9 million that is optional. This will provide further financial relief in future budgets by eliminating costly interest charges. We also have over $4 million in grants for specific township projects with the promise of many more millions in the coming months. Having been directly involved in 28 different municipal budgets in Woodbridge Township as Chief Financial Officer and Mayor is enough experience to say that this is the best budget ever during those years. The work that went into its preparation was amazing, and we have a terrific team to thank for that effort. Our current Chief Financial Officer, Manny Fernandez, along with Deputy CFO Mike Klepchik and Accountant Katie Mullen, spent hundreds of hours starting in the spring and finishing tonight to put this fabulous document together. And now they start the process of managing the budget, trying not to spend money we have authorized while making sure we collect the revenue we have anticipated while searching for more. Our Business Administrator Vito Samaluka and his Deputy Casey Wagner held dozens of meetings with the best government leaders in the state of New Jersey, our department and division heads right here in Woodbridge. This great group of men and women each have dozens of years working in Woodbridge, and they know what they are doing, and it is reflected in this zero tax increase budget. Vito and Casey's hard work should not go unrecognized. We also thank each of you on the dais for your continued support of our financial plans and our economic development efforts. There is little that we can do as an administration in the executive branch of government without the cooperation of our legislative branch, the Township Council, and you have always provided that support. Finally, we thank the members of the public for your continued support. We ask you to trust us that we were making prudent financial decisions about the future of Woodbridge, and you did, and tonight you see why. You trusted that we could manage the township's finances and bring in more projects to ease the tax burden you face. You trusted us that we could deliver the best sanitation and recycling pickups and best road maintenance and reconstruction and best snow plowing that is the envy of every town around us. You trusted us to build a nationally accredited police force and see the benefits of new recreational facilities like the club at Woodbridge, the Acacia Youth Center, the Cypress Recreation Center, and the Oak Tree and Maple Tree Senior Centers. You especially trusted us during these last 30 months of the COVID pandemic, and you watched our health department shine like no other. You got your shots and your boosters in an incredibly friendly and professional environment. You were informed of everything we knew about COVID daily at first and now weekly, and you constantly thanked our team and offered words of encouragement. You grieved with us at our ceremony for victims of COVID who could not have proper funerals, and you celebrated with us as college seniors had a graduation ceremony which their schools could not offer. You are the reason we work so hard, and we are immensely proud to deliver a municipal budget with no tax increase to you tonight. When people disparage us and don't tell the truth about our motives and our actions, it is very disappointing. But this is more than just a handful of people repeating the same nonsense meeting after meeting. Now you all know that what we have said all along is true. This budget improves your quality of life within Woodbridge Township and offers more programs and services to our seniors, our children, and our families while holding the line on property taxes. Thank you once again for your support as we all continue to strive to make Woodbridge the best town around. Thank you very much, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Business Administrator Vito.
Thank you, Council President. First, I'd like to thank the mayor for his leadership. Every great financial plan or financial plan starts with an architect, and he is definitely the architect here for this financial success. So I'd like to thank him. I'd like to thank the council for its continued support on the administration and the mayor for putting together this budget and supporting this budget. I'd like to thank for the 2023 budget. I also like to thank our CFO, Manny Fernandez, and our Deputy CFO, Michael Klubchak. They did an outstanding job. Katie Mullen, countless hours, as the mayor has said. I'd like to thank Casey Wagner, our Deputy BA, our Communications Director, John Haggerty, our directors and department heads, who I sat with for countless meetings from the spring all the way through to the inception of the budget. Their hard work and effort definitely paid off, and they shared in the workload. I'd also like to thank the seamless process that was put together by the council and getting us to this point. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from council? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The budget is passed.
Thank you. Start here. I would like to first thank those responsible for our 2023 budget, our CFO, Manny Fernandez, Deputy Mike Klubchak, Mayor John McCormac, Business Administrator Vito Sangaluca, our his deputy, Casey Wagner, our Chief of Staff, Carol Hurley, Township Clerk John Mitch, department heads, and staff for all their time, effort, and hard work in producing a sound, zero no-tax budget for our residents. A lot of good things are going on in our township, and that's because of the vision of our administration and my fellow council mates. Currently, every ward has a senior center offering many services and programs to our seniors, plus free transportation to those who do not have any means of transportation to the centers or to township-sponsored events. We offer at this time 3 youth centers for our middle school students, a place designed to provide a safe, supervised environment to organize instructional activities. In the second ward, we purchased 2 properties on New Brunswick Avenue, giving the businesses and shoppers more downtown access parking. Redevelopment along New Brunswick Avenue has cleaned up neglected vacant lots and stirring up economic development. Under sports and fitness, new bike share racks locations have been added, adult exercise equipment installed in local community parks, Woodbridge Community Center and the Club at Woodbridge offering many recreational sport programs to our residents. This is only the tip of the iceberg on the amount of services we provide to our residents. This administration and council is committed on making Woodbridge a great place to live, raise children, and build one's future. Thank you again to our administration, our staff for your hard work and providing our residents with the best services around. Thank you again. Vice President DeCamera.
Thank you, Council President. While also extending my great appreciation to the team that developed the budget, I'd like to point out a few things that are made available to our town because of this sound budget. If it's not in the budget, it's because of it that we're able to do these things. For example, safe housing for victims of domestic violence, which we used our CBDG funds, homelessness prevention, expansion of our relationship with the YMCA and other social service departments, the funds for our mobile health unit, bringing medical screening and services to the community where they are and not expect them to come to us, expansion at the club and the community center, expansions in our parks with available fitness equipment that's free to our community, trust fund to help qualified folks rehab their homes, again, Director Darden's direction on that. Support funding for our police department to continue and expand the way that our officers interact with people that are in mental health crisis. All of these services, as pointed out, have provided opportunities and will continue or either expand or continue within this budget with absolutely no increase. So bravo, everyone. Thank you. And that's all I have, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jesus.
Thank you. I want to echo both Council President's and Vice President's comments. Thank you to the Mayor McCormac, Vito Sangaluca, and everyone sitting to the left of us for the great job that you did in the sound budget. One of the things that is closest to my heart is the backpack drive, and thank you for the budget and for all of our directors' work. We'll be able to continue that, and we all of us have things that are dear to our hearts, and that is one of the things that is closest to my heart, especially during this time when so many families are facing so many hardships. We did an amazing job last weekend in giving backpacks to a lot of kids in need in Woodbridge Township, and that wouldn't have been possible without the hard work that everyone in this room does together, and everyone that is not in the room, all of our directors, all of our departments. And I especially wanted to say that I'm proud of the work that the health department has been doing in the last 30 months, but I'm excited about the future of the health department with the new things that are coming and all of the community outreach that they're done. And again, community outreach wouldn't be possible if we didn't have the budget to put for everything that we do for our community. So again, thank you for all of your hard work, and I look forward to a bright future in Woodbridge. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Spiller.
Thank you, Council President. I'd just like to thank the mayor, administration, and finance, and all the directors and division heads for once again presenting us with a very fiscal and sound budget. With inflation rising and the residents still feeling the effects of the pandemic, it is fiscally responsible and refreshing to be presented with and approved this evening a budget that has a zero municipal tax increase for our residents. A zero municipal tax increase and still be able to offer all of our essential services, programs, and events is outstanding. I'd like to thank the administration and the police director and deputy director for once again adding funding to our police department's budget to ensure we are hiring more officers for the upcoming year and continue to keep Woodbridge a safe community it has been for years. And finally, I'd like to also thank the mayor and administration for securing funding through a grant and adding that into a budget for Phase 2 at Cypress Park. The second phase will include a renovated soccer field, 2 street hockey and 1 basketball court, and a recreational play area and a spray park. Once again, all around a complete, solid budget. Thank you. Thank you, Council President Bauer.
Thank you. Councilwoman Meehan.
Thank you. I would just like to thank the administration and the mayor, and just our council itself is really, it's outstanding work each individual council person does up here. Like Elizabeth said, we all have our individual passions, and since the budget, you allow us to do the things we need to do for our community, and there's a lot of great things going on in Colonia, the Springwood. There's been a lot of drainage issues, so we're working on them, and we're getting the library back, thank God. Everybody's happy about that. So these wonderful things that people don't always know, we can't do without the budget that you put together. So thank you for everything you do. That's what I have.
Thank you. Councilman Small.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to say there's 18 agenda items on my sheet here, and everyone is equally important. But one thing that I really feel so proud about and so happy about was the Cypress project. For 50-something years, that property lay dormant with an abandoned library from the 1960s and old basketball courts, and never in a million years did I dream that it would turn out the way it did. Our house, Mayor Max Cafe, volleyball courts, pickleball courts, level playing field, and like Councilman Spiller said prior to me, Phase 2 is coming, and it's just so exciting. Like I said, I could sit here and talk about every single thing on my agenda, but we'd be here forever. But I just want to thank the mayor, Mr. Simaluka, Ms. Ehrlich, Mr. Fernandez, Mr. Haggerty, Mr. Klubchak, Casey, there you are. I just want to thank you all for the outstanding work you do. And of course, Mayor McCormac, if you don't think that he doesn't wake up every day and say, how do I make this town better? You're delusional, because there's no doubt he does. But thank you to everybody, and I'm very proud to support this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Anderson.
Thank you, Council President. Rather than reiterate what everyone else has said, I just want to thank the mayor, administration, the council for the support of this budget. To have a 0% budget increase of municipal taxes, it's a first for any budget that I've been associated with in my 11 years as a council person. To echo what Councilman Small said, my teams benefit from the renovation over at the Cypress facilities. It's a amazing facility for our cheerleaders, our wrestling program, and then on the outside, what we have now is really a nice sight to see at night when you drive by and you see the courts are being used. Recreation overall, when you look at the league consolidation and the commitment, and this conversation goes, and I know we're showering you with a lot of love here, Mayor, but it does start with a quarterback, and you have to have somebody that sees when we impact recreation sports. You know, my kids are kids that started out in recreation and elevated and went on to travel sports and all-star sports, but what the foundation that they learned in recreation is something that we had to come back to. During my time here, I saw where we grew into a travel program, a lot of all-star programs, but then we came back to the need to satisfy the masses of student athletes, to see what it's done for our basketball and our softball and baseball programs, and now even it trickles over into our football and cheer and soccer and so forth. Those recreation programs, to see how the resources that we are able to provide through our budget, how they impact our students, student athletes with better uniforms. When we go into other cities and other townships, we're always well represented. We look and we feel good. Our commitment to increasing our outreach with our diverse population as we become increasingly diverse in Woodbridge Township, whether it be through the activities and the sports or the concerts and all types of programs that we have at our libraries. You know, just when we learn about the Negro League Baseball or when we learn about the Tuskegee Airmen, all of those events are sponsored. And then as well with the Juneteenth event, Black History Month, and Martin Luther King, those are all supported through our township budget. And I just want to say thank you to my council mates, thank you to our mayor, thank you to our administration. Everyone, great job.
Thank you. Councilman Patel's excused. Councilwoman McCullough.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to say thank you to my council mates first for helping me, as this was my first budget. It was really great for all of you giving me the information of what I needed to do, and it was great to have all of the administration. Thank you so much for answering all the questions that I had. It was very detailed, and I appreciate all that. It's an honor for me to sit up here as the first time doing this, to be able to say that you know, we are not going to have a municipal tax increase. It's great for me to live in this wonderful town and know that I'm here and all of the people that live in this town with me are going to be able to not have a tax increase for their municipal taxes this year. That's a wonderful thing. And that's all due to the way that the administration runs everything, with all of the pilots that are done, the development in downtown Woodbridge, which really has helped that, and it's now really all coming together, and downtown Woodbridge is starting to have a lot more foot traffic on it. We see a lot of people with their baby carriages and walking their dogs, so that we know that with all of the new restaurants and stores that are going to be opening on Main Street, it's going to become a very interesting place to come and walk around and eat and do stuff there. So we're very looking forward to that, as well as everything that's going to be happening in Seawarren. We're happy that we're going to be taking care of the Seawarren waterfront, the marina. It's going to be an exciting project that's going to happen over the next year or so. So that's something else that's going to make Woodbridge look beautiful. So all I really have to say is thank you very much for all your support, helping me, and I'm extremely proud to be part of this whole entire council. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lynch.
Council.
Yes.
Before you turn to Mr. Mitch, if you would, I'd be remiss if I left out two people. One would be our clerk, John Mitch. He works tirelessly, constantly, and as everybody knows that. And also our Chief of Staff, Carolyn Ehrlich, who sat with us in every one of those meetings, and her input and direction on some of the items that we worked with were invaluable. So I appreciate all of her input and her support. Thank you, Council President. Sorry, Mr. Mitch.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Get a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
So, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise for a salute to the flag. A moment of silence for all our military personnel serving here and abroad. pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Notice requirements of the open public meeting law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home News Tribune published a notice on July 28, 2022. The Star Ledger published a notice on August 4th, 2022. It was noted on the bulletin board at the municipal building and it's so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Roll call. Councilman Anderson. Councilwoman De Jesus.
Here.
Councilman Ficarra.
Here.
Councilman Small. Councilwoman McAuliffe.
Here.
President Bauer.
Here.
Councilman Spiller.
Here.
Councilman Patel.
Here.
And Councilwoman Meehan. Okay. Can I get a motion to open the public portion of this meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the motion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open for any comment. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public comment portion be closed?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public comment portion is now closed. Council, you have two items for you this evening. The first is the introduction of an ordinance which is in front of you, which is a ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit and to establish a capped bank. I shared that with you. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be passed on first reading, published in the Home News Tribune on August 12, 2022, with public hearing to be scheduled for September 6, 2022 at 6 p.m.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And also, council, I have one resolution for consideration tonight. This is the introduction of the fiscal year 2023 budget. I get a motion to introduce the budget, and then we will go into our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is now adopted. Mr. President, we're going to go right into your budget hearing with your department heads and your division heads. This evening, we are going to begin with the police department. See, Director Hubner is here. If you'll look at your budgets, you're starting on the salary and wages, which is pages 34 through 39, with other expenses, pages 82 through 91. And when we're done with the police, we'll continue with him with the impound yard and the Office of Emergency Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Anyone in council have any questions for Director Hubner?
Council President?
Yes.
Thank you. No questions. I just I want to thank Director Hubner, Deputy Director Niski, and Business Administrator Simaluka for answering some of the questions I had earlier on. Just a comment, I'm very pleased to see the increase in salary and wages, continuing the mayor, administration, and council's efforts to constantly increase our manpower and women power, that's a word, to the police department. Our department, we have the police department, and it's so much more than just radio patrol. There's so many different divisions and bureaus within the police department, and it's it makes me very happy to see that increase, so thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Director Hubner?
Council President.
Yes, please.
On page 90, I see that there's a $30,000 asked for community affairs. And basically, I just want to say that I'm sure this money is being used for National Night Out, which was absolutely a fantastic event this year. And from last year, it grew dramatically. And I'm looking forward to see what you guys are going to be doing next year. But also, the Senior Police Academy and the Junior Police Academy. I attended both graduations with the Junior Police Academy. And I want to say thank you to the dedication of the officers that run the academies, but your officers in general. I've seen your officers at work, and I know that I mentioned to you privately how professional and kind they are when they deal with our residents. And I just want to say that I'm very happy with the way our police interact with our residents and the way that they do their job, and community affairs has grown. I'm happy to see the participation at all of our township events, when I do my backpack drive, when I do Hispanic Heritage Festival, and even when we had a health day in Caseby at the Hillside Garden Apartments, they were there, and their table is always one of the most visited. And that just shows how they interact with the residents, that they feel comfortable to come and speak and interact with them. So thank you for the job that you guys do, and the way you and Deputy Director Niski and Captain Kuzmin run the department. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Yeah, community relations, community affairs even though we only have 2 officers actually assigned, Detective Zeno and Detective Anna Radowski, it's a department-wide initiative. So every officer throughout the department has a responsibility to work community policing, community affairs. So thank you.
Any other questions, Director Hubner?
No, you're good. Nope. Good, thank you.
Council President, I just want to echo Councilwoman De Jesus's comments as you know how influential the Junior Police Academy program is. My boys went through the program a few years ago and still have their certificates hanging on their wall. The National Night Out last week was a complete success. The mayor had me over there, interviewing me, and the crowd itself, seeing the young kids out there with their families helps forge that relationship, and as you mentioned, the community relations. And then lastly, I would like to thank the police department for their involvement and with the Juneteenth event and getting out with the community, having a table there, having the police cruiser there, and reaching out to the community and beginning to forge that relationship as well, or at least continuing that relationship. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
If no other questions on the police budget, we'll move into the impound yard. Salary and wages, page 40, OE 91 through 94. Any questions on the impound yard? If no questions, the last division under Director Hubner is the Office of Emergency Management. S&W page 39, OE 96 through 100.
Council President, Director Hubner, CERT, does that fall under emergency management when they need supplies and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Just one quick comment going back to the tow yard. As you can see, it pretty much stayed the same as last year, but we did some reorganization down there, and we're actually making money between the car auctions and towing and storage. So we're making a profit down there.
Any questions for Director Hubner?
I just want to make one final comment that I forgot about, and the recent hires with the police department. Very familiar faces, young men from our town came through the Scout program. It's just really good to see young men and women from Woodbridge Township getting an opportunity to be a police officer on the force. So thank you for looking at our candidates that are homegrown first.
Any other comments, questions? I'd like to just make a comment. Director Hubner, just like to thank you for your leadership and professionalism within the department, and please thank all the men and women of the department for their hard work and dedication protecting the citizens of Woodbridge Township. We thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Next up, we're going to have the Division of Assessment, Mr. Richard Duda. S&W page 11, OE pages 36 through 38. Let's give him a moment to get set. Now that's funny. Got 11 on S&W, 36 through 38, Mr. Duda.
Good afternoon, Council.
Good morning, good afternoon. Do you have any questions for Mr. Duda? Any questions, comments?
Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Duda.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening.
Followed by Mr. Lorenzen, Tax Collection. We'll also take with him Sewer Administration, but we'll begin with Tax Collector's Office, S&W page 10, OE pages 33 through 35.
Have any questions, comments, Mr. Lorenzen?
Anything on Sewer Administration for Mr. Lorenzen? S&W 83, OE 176 through 179. We'll take both of them.
Any questions, comments, Mr. Lorenzen? Councilwoman?
I just was wondering about the maintenance contracts, the increase in the maintenance contracts, where
you have a page for Mr. Lorenzen?
Page 177,
177.
number 4515.
Some of the maintenance contracts used to be with IS, and they're trying to get them back to the department level. So we allocated more money in our department to bring in some of the maintenance contract that were previously being charged to IS. I think you're doing that with a few departments.
It's a little bit better for control, realize what department is expending the money.
Less outsourcing, keeping it in-house. Thank
I
you.
saw that in several departments, so no, that's a good explanation.
Council President?
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzen, thank you very much. Obviously, we're appreciative that the reserve of uncollected taxes has remained stable. There's a different amount between the transferred amount to the Board of Education, significant increase in the transfer to the Board of Education. Would you be able to elaborate on that for the residents?
Yeah, I don't think that's his, Councilman.
Oh, this is not one, okay, 176? Page 176, and this is line 8700.
It's the debt service.
That's budgeted out of 8,000, not 8,510. Sewer's 8,510, that's above, that's line 8,000.
Gotcha.
Same page, but.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Lorenzen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll take purchasing. Jen Burns, she'll be actually covering for a number of items. S&W page 5, OE pages 16 through 18. So she'll also be covering utilities and bulk purchases as well, but we'll start with purchasing.
Any questions or comments? Mrs. Burns? Yes, Councilwoman.
On page 18, rent other than office, there's a request, and this is the first request that I've seen in the last couple of years. Can you explain what rent other than office is? Page 18, 5165?
Hold on, I'm getting there.
I don't think that's mine, but I believe that's the.
That's the mailroom. That's the mailroom.
Okay.
That's,
It's Pitney Bowes machine. It's a rental
yeah,
machine.
yeah, that's a Pitney Bowes machine. It's a lease on a mailing machine.
Okay.
Our old machine went out, and we needed something new to push out the tax bills and other items.
Thank you.
I have a question, page 18, other outside services. This is probably a good thing, a decrease of roughly $100,000. Is that another in-house that we're keeping to the outsourcing products?
That was for our consultant
Okay.
originally, and we are not going to be needing his services extensively, so the decrease is listed there.
Now that Ms. Burns has her QPA, so she's been a qualified purchasing agent now, she passed her test, and that's why we reduced that number.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Ms. Burns, there's a significant decrease in mileage and tolls for approximately 100,000 under purchasing. Is there, we went from 288 to 181.
That's the, I think that's the control total.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look below it,
Yeah.
Councilman Anderson, I
All
think
right.
that's what you're looking at. We're at
So
zero
that is
mileage.
what Council President was referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I was referring to the top of the page of 18 under other outside services.
Yeah, other outside services is what Council President was referring to. You're, Councilman Anderson, you're referring to the control total at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
There's not a bar there that disseminates those two lines, so it is a bit confusing. It looks like it's part of it, but it's not.
Okay. Yeah, I see the minus 100,000, so, and the decrease. So the appropriation for 2022 was 288,000?
Right.
Correct.
And the actual was 181,000.
Correct. Subtract the 100,000 that Council President Bauer was referring to.
Okay.
Questions or comments? Yes.
What do we do with that $100,000 then? Is that just, do we say, oh, now we have an extra $100,000, where do we put it?
That's a good question, Councilwoman. This budget is flat, so if you notice, we've reduced a lot of those budget lines and put them elsewhere where needed, taking them out where not.
Okay, so it goes someplace else.
That's a great question.
Okay.
Again, while Ms. Burns is here as well, utilities and bulk purchases under OE 28 and 29.
What are we looking at? I'm sorry, what page?
Utilities and bulk purchases 28 through 29 OE. She may cover some of that.
Any questions, comments?
If we have street lighting, every single year it's 0. What is street lighting? No, 5306? That's under electricity.
So street lighting, well, there's a few different things. So street lighting is for the PSE and G bill that we pay for the lighting throughout. It's not captured there, it's captured in another line. What's that? It's an electricity, just, yeah, right there. Yeah, so if you look up to the line above it.
Okay, so that falls under that. Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Burns.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go into human resources, which is S&W page 8, OE 25 through 28. Should be Mr. Crocker.
Right?
Yes, 25 through 28 OE, 8 on S&W.
Council President?
Yes.
Mr. Carver, I know I saw this somewhere, so I'm probably just repeating somebody. The salary increase, I believe that's going to be the offset of that payroll issue.
Yes, 27 back, correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Crocker? Yes, Councilwoman.
Line number 4144, supplies and awards, and there's never been anything requested, and this year we're requesting some money for that. So can you give us a small explanation as to why?
Sure. That's for our anniversary pins and luncheons that we give for our employees, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's usually been under miscellaneous expense, and we just carved it out to read under supplies.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Crocker.
Thank you.
Mr. Simaluka, if okay with you, we're going to go right into information systems. We'll
Yes.
hold the controller. Information systems, Mr. Austin. That'll be S&W page 84, OE page 181 through 184.
There will be 4.
Yes, 181 through 84, and then 84 on S&W.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Austin? I have one on page 183, other outside services, an increase roughly double from last year. Page 183, other outside services.
Yeah, you can read it. This is your response, not mine.
So for 183, the line includes many items throughout the budget year. Some examples are the annual SDL software licensing fee. We're also looking at an AC unit being engineered in the data center. That's also added in there. And also there was installing of some cameras, and just trying to see what other things. And also some of the alarm equipment that was purchased was also in that line. So that's why there's extra stuff in there.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No other questions. Thank you, Mr. Austin. TV 35, Mr. Haggerty, you're going to be taking that? S&W page 12, and OE 21 through 23.
Council President?
Yes.
Not a question, just a statement. I know we say it every year, but you and your staff are just phenomenal at TV 35. I don't really watch TV. I watch the Woodbridge channel, then I watch YouTube. That's it. But as always, you know, we had the ribbon cutting at Bubba Coos, and the gentleman and the owner asked when he can see this. I said, our crew is great. It'll be on probably within 2 hours, and you don't have to wait. Just go to Woodbridge channels on YouTube. He said to me, I don't watch YouTube, and I thought I was going to have a coordinator. Oh my God, who doesn't watch YouTube? But outstanding job, you and your staff. So thank you.
Thank you. And just goes to show that TV 35 is doing much more programming now than ever before. We are getting out on varying social media channels, as well as the Comcast channel 35, and we'll be going to a high def signal coming later this year.
All I need now is my weather report from them.
There you go.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Haggerty? Yes, Councilman.
Mr. Haggerty, I just want to thank you very much for the services that you provide with our TV 35. I know Lee Beckerman, his crew are very instrumental in, keeping myself, Councilman Ficarra, Assembly Speaker Coughlin and the mayor employed as voluntary broadcasters for our sports, but also with regard to our Black History Month event and just ongoing about our cultural events. During COVID, TV 35 kept our town informed, and we kept our programs going during the COVID period. And I think that was very important, but it was also much appreciated by the residents. We broadcast it as much as we can on our own social media. We have a lot of fun broadcasting the games, but it goes without saying that we have a phenomenal TV crew and programming schedule that is facilitated by our administration.
Thank you. I have a very deep talent pool, both on TV 35 and within the council, who likes to get their minutes on the TV.
On behalf of these announcers, I'd like to say thank you. You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Council President, if I could use that as a segue real quick. You know, during the pandemic, which we're just coming out of now, there are many towns and town halls that are closed. We have never closed. We have always, and it's a testament to our employees. We've never closed. We've delivered services, whether you had to make an appointment or not. Our township employees came to work every day and delivered those services. The mayor led that by coming to work every day, and so did our township employees, and our township residents benefited from that. So I thank you for noticing that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here are no other questions for Mr. Haggerty. We'll go into Mrs. Darden, Planning and Development. We'll start with her office, the Director's Office, which is S&W page 29, OE page 71 through 74.
Any questions? Director Darden? Excuse me. Questions, comments?
If not, we'll continue with her and take both the Planning Board and Zoning Board. S&W would be 30 through 31, and then the OE 74 through 78, both Planning Board and Zoning Board.
Any questions or comments? I have this, excuse me, comment, with the mayor's vision within our township and Director Darden's help with redevelopment and planning within our township, we were able to receive many funds through the state and federal government for our local projects, and one in my own ward, which will be a new Olson Towers on New Brunswick Avenue. And if Director Darden could elaborate on that a little more and how we received these funds and what will be going on in my ward.
Sure. So we have grants and different monies that we collect through developments and approvals. Specifically with the grants, we have the Community Development Block Grant, which we've received every year for about the last 37, started even before I came to work here. And those monies are always used to underwrite new construction and to provide services both in and out of town that benefit all our residents who are in need. Specifically with the Affordable Housing Trust, we are already in a program. We have lots of programs going on to assist people in need, and this one is the housing rehab program, where we will provide with very little, it takes very little to qualify, very little information, and we will provide up to $22,000 for substantial and significant rehab on individual owners' homes. So we've been involved in that now. It was originally part of the Community Development Block Grant Program, and in the last 6 years has been part of our Affordable Housing Trust. And specifically, as you mentioned, Olson, we're looking at how it is that we can rehouse and bring the senior building that has existed for, I'll just say, behind many, many years, and it is literally in the style of a cinder block building, not unlike what some local prisons have. We're going to update that, and we're going to give the seniors brand new units literally at the same site. And so that's the project that we're working on.
Thank you. I also state that with the redevelopment over the years and pilot programs, many fire districts in our township have received funding for new apparatus, safety equipment, taking that money away from the taxpayer to foot that bill. And thanks to the redevelopment and pilot programs in Hope Lawn, which is in my ward, Hope Lawn Fire received funding to purchase safety equipment, not only to protect themselves, but protect the residents of the Ace Fire District. And we thank you and the mayor and administration for all you do to help our local fire districts too. Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
About Seabourn, the marina. We know that we're working on doing the marina, and we know it's coming along good. So if you could just give us a little bit of information of when we think that project's going to work, because we've had several questions to know what's going on there with beautifying downtown Seabourn boat area. Because we know we could build a lot more revenue with the new bulkheads and boat.
So
they're going to go in there?
That project has many phases. First phase, which I'm sure if you were out and around early yesterday morning, we demoed the one building at what property we had just purchased that was previously part of Pirates Cove Marina. It's now going to be a contiguous part of the expansion of development that we'll have there. Specifically, when I say development, it's not going to be heavy in terms of the structured development. It's going to be an array of activities and an expansion of activities at our current marina, including a living shoreline, including additional marina slips. So it's a very, very exciting development and a very, very exciting program that literally the administration has taken on and is spearheading.
Thank you very much. It's going to be great. When I saw the plans for the living shoreline, I'm very excited. It's going to look beautiful when that gets done. So
It'll definitely benefit that area with the beautification of that center.
yeah, it's going to be really nice. Thank you.
Mark?
This is Darden. I'd just like to thank you very much for your efforts in managing a lot of the development that is going on downtown, throughout Woodbridge as well, because you know, to maintain the downtown theme, but also this economic, it also is going to spark our economy, or what's going on downtown. The businesses down there require foot traffic. Residents are going to be there. They're going to be able to patronize the businesses. But at the same time, throughout other sections of town, our home inspectors are out there, and they're making sure that the integrity of our properties are kept up. I had conversations with them even today regarding some of the properties, and just making sure that we're in constant communication with our residents about the expectations and the upkeep of our properties and just making sure that we're adhering to all the code that is required. And that's a big job, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
While Mrs. Darden is here, we're also going to take the Housing Bureau, which also comes under her, as well as the Construction Code, S&W pages 32 through 33, OE 79 through 82.
Any questions for Director Darden?
Hearing no questions. Thank you, Mrs. Darden. We're going to go into the library. Our director, Monica Eppinger. And that's a tab in itself in your documents.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to do. I don't have any questions, but I would like to thank Director Eppinger and your staff. A couple of years ago, I had the brilliant idea of doing a pop-up library in Casey on the hottest day of the year. And it was the idea to bring books to an area that there's really not much for the kids to do. And that was the beginning, I think, of pop-up libraries everywhere, because your staff is at every event that we host, and always with a smile, always interacting with the kids and making things fun. My daughter participated in diamond paint at the library with her friends, and she enjoyed it. So you have, and your staff have brought a new life to the library. There's always programming for all ages and exciting things happening at the library. And not only that, but for me, it's very important for there to be an outreach to the Latino community. And I'm happy to say that you do a phenomenal job. Your staff does a phenomenal job at doing community outreach. And so thank you. Thank you for all that you and your staff do all year round. And thank you for listening to our crazy ideas and making them happen.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. Pleasure's mine.
Any more comments or questions, Director?
I just wanted to ask about the Seawarren Library. I know that that's a little bit different than all the other libraries, so if you could just elaborate a little bit and tell us how the main library is working with the Seawarren Library to do technology integration and to get them a little bit more involved in what's going on. They have their own programs, but how is the main library trying to build the Seawarren's little library out there?
So we had the opportunity to write a grant for a tablet station, and right now they're housed at the main library, and they were meant for outreach. And we're going to share one of those with Seawarren, and they're going to do a program with it next month in September. So hopefully that will all go well. It's a tablet station they don't really need to know very much. It should just dispense tablets for them and keep them charged and keep them ready to go. And we can put whatever they want on them. And we can also put a few of the main library things or the system things on it too, because there are patrons too, and we'd like to make sure that they're successful, and then we can reach them with the resources that the main library has.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
I just have one other comment, and that's for our residents that need a library card. They don't necessarily have to go to any other branches. They can come to any of our events where your staff is there, and they can get a library card right on site. So that's another thing that I think is fabulous, because if people can't make it to the libraries at any given time, they could always access a library card by coming to any of our events and visiting your table. But not only that, they don't have to go to a library branch to get a book. They could do it digitally, right?
Yes, yes. And you can actually apply for a library card online now, and they'll mail it to your house. But the card you get in that moment will work on our electronic resources. You can even like download a book. So it's that fast. Happy to do that. And even if you want to renew your card, that way you can do that online. So we've much improved the speed of getting a card. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about another vision that my councilmate, who helps me a lot in my second ward, Councilwoman DeJesus, was the pop-up libraries always, come out when we have events, but we wanted something there permanently for the kids. So we were investigating, and we came across through the internet little libraries. And the little libraries, it's take a book, return a book. It's a free exchange library within a community where people could come, get a book, read it, return it, and share their books with everybody in the community. We had 2 installed, one at School 25 in Fords.
We had a couple.
Excuse me, more than 2. Hope Lawn Engine Company, Loretta Street and Hope Lawn. And we just actually moved the Caseby one from the firehouse down to Clinton Street Park, where there's more kids can access the little free library. And with the help of the public library system, helping us support it. And I have local citizens that actually want to be part of this. They have a passion for reading. And they want to decorate it and be part of the community. So with the help of the library, my councilman, and the council itself administration, can't thank you enough for giving the opportunity to these kids to be involved. Because, a lot of our communities don't have that hometown, like I grew up, that library to go to. This gives them something to be part of the community and be involved with. But we thank you very much.
Happy to help in any way we can to support those.
Thank you.
So I just have one last comment.
Go ahead.
And I'm not going to take credit for it being my idea. The idea of the free little library came from the DEI meeting at School 25, which I was a community person involved. And the teachers wanted to make books accessible to the kids in the Caseby section of our town. So working together, with Howie, myself, and then we brought up the idea to administration, and a Cub Scout actually built like 9 little libraries. So they are at School 9, in front of School 9, because there's no library branch in Port Reading. Caseby got one, Hopeland got one. There's one in Avenel at the Erding Oris Park. And School 25. So the kids from Hopeland and Caseby don't have a library branch. So when they're in school, they can visit the Forts Library branch. But during the summer, the free little library makes books accessible to them. So, and you were always very open to the idea of the library, and the Board of Trustees at the library helped in making sure that they're staffed with books. So, I want to thank School 25, DEI, team for having the idea, and the Cub Scout for building and implementing, and administration for helping us in making that dream come true.
Absolutely.
Like also special thanks out for the Department of Public Works who assisted us installing them. The Boy Scouts of America, a lot of the time the Eagle Scout programs will take on these projects and build it when they supply the supplies for these little free libraries. So a special thanks to those organizations too. Any questions or comments?
Yes, Ms. Eppinger, I do just want to thank you and your board for working with me as in my day job, county superintendent, for working, figuring out ways where we can collaborate more with the schools and partner with the schools. Our libraries, especially during summer programs as well, summer reading is really key for our teachers to be able to, they really need to count on that program so that our students, especially during the COVID period, hate to use the word learning loss, but there obviously, we had some regression, and we rely on our libraries, especially during the summertime, to continue the learning that they had during the fall months.
Thank you. Happy to do that too.
No other questions, right?
All good.
Thank you, Mrs. Eppinger.
Thank you very much.
Go to the municipal court. Salary and wages 61. Office other expenses 153 through 156. Mr. Fildy Nicola.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Again, 61 on S&W, 153 through 156 on OE.
Any questions, comment, Mr. DiNicola?
On other office equipment, $43.95. Did you buy new equipment, or what did you do that was over what we anticipated?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
$43.95 other equipment on page 154.
did we get something new, or what did we do there? And it's under other equipment.
Well, normally what we do is we replace the equipment that needs to be replaced as it wears out. Under the ALC rules, we have to keep our equipment up to date, current, and maintained under contracts. So we have to be prepared for any eventual breakdowns, such as our court recording systems, our video arraignment systems, and the like.
Questions or comments?
Just want to say thank you for your efforts in keeping our overtime to a reasonable figure, and actually under than what we were budgeting. And are we maintaining our ranking as being the busiest court in New Jersey?
We are up there in the top 3.
We're in the top 3? All right. Well, let me know when we're number 1. All right. Thank you.
Questions or comments?
No.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Mr. DiNicola. We'll go to the Department of Health. I believe Deputy Director Phil Bujowski. To be SNW at page 41, OE page 100 to 103. We'll start with the Health Administration budget. Again, Mr. Bujowski.
Good afternoon, all.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Kinsman?
Oh, no, not there.
Not there? Wrong page. Questions, comments?
We can go next into the community outreach then. S&W 42, OE 105 through 107.
Councilwoman DeJesus?
Yes, page 105, Health Community Outreach, item 3510. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure, Councilwoman. So you're getting a mobile health unit. It's been donated, and it's essentially a bus that's equipped to provide a number of health services. We're trying to reach underserved communities and just be able to do more than even that we do. It'll involve health screenings and vaccinations to reach as many people as we can throughout the township.
Thank you, and I want to thank the Health Department. So we do a backpack drive in KSB every year, and myself, Councilman Bauer, Board of Education, Dan Harris, the mayor, the administration, and Councilman Ficara, we're trying to see how we can best service our community. And last year, Hackensack Meridian brought their mobile clinic to that event, and we had health screenings. We also had, through the health department, COVID vaccines available to the residents in KSB. And I feel like that was the beginning of another adventure that we're taking together.
Agreed.
But it's a great adventure because we are providing services to the residents that can't come to us. We're bringing it to them. And I feel that that's how government and community should be. If they can't come to us, then we should make it accessible to them. And thank you so much for being there every backpack drive and addressing the concerns of the community. Not only that, but also making it in bilingual. Spanish is predominantly the language spoken there, and I've seen an increase in your nurses and your staff in communicating with that particular community. So thank you for that. I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it, because we're providing services for our residents that had not been done in the past. And especially this year, our backpack drive is coming up, and one of the things that we're talking about is about providing the COVID vaccine to the children before they go back to school. So I look forward to working with you, and I'm very excited about the fact that Woodbridge, our township, is gonna have its own mobile clinic where we can go to all parts of town and provide services, again, for our residents. And I don't know if anyone else in the state of New Jersey does, so I'm really proud of the work that we do together to provide that for our residents.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We're excited as well.
Yes, Councilman.
Just real quick, and I know, Phil, we serve on a couple of committees together. It's that time of year where our local hospital institutions are doing their community health assessment plan, otherwise known as CHNA. And right after that is their community health improvement plan to address the assessment. And as you and I both know, and I know Ashley from your department is involved, I believe this coming week with Hackensack Meridian, that was identified as an issue of, people that are underserved, not receiving the medical care, and coming up with this idea of bringing it to the people, as Councilwoman De Jesus said, is just fabulous. So money well spent, and kudos to your department.
And largely due to the efforts of the mayor and Carolyn Ehrlich, the chief of staff. That was they were a huge part in that. Without them, this would never be able to happen.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Wachowski, I just want to thank you very much. As in my role in the county, we don't realize, and I don't think our residents always understand what a fortunate position that we're in, where we have our own health department. Many other county townships throughout Middlesex County rely on the county services, and so we have the double coverage, that is, with the relationship and the collaboration that you have with the county. Our Woodbridge Township residents are able to really get the services that not a lot of other townships get. When you have a personalized, nursing staff and just going in, whether it be the inspections, the health inspections, and so forth. To have our own health department is very key, especially during the last few months or last few years with COVID. So we appreciate the job that you do on the council, but I wanted to make sure that our residents knew that we have a health department that's second to none.
Thank you, Councilman. To that end, it should be noted that since we started the clinics way back at the end of 2020, we've never stopped. We've conducted a total of 150 COVID clinics to date. They continue to be very well attended. We've just held 3 clinics recently to date for the recent new eligible group of the 6 months to under 5 years of age. What I think it really is pretty impressive is the state sends out a vaccination report, municipality report, and it tries to identify the percentage of people of certain ages and the percentage of that group that's vaccinated. I'm like really impressed to report that in Woodbridge Township, for the age group 65 plus, 96% of our population has been found to be fully vaccinated. And clearly, and again, these things don't happen without the mayor and the chief of staff and you guys. I can think of no better way. I think I said this last time, that a municipality can protect their people and public health. There are very, very few, if any, local health departments in the entire state of New Jersey that offer a vaccine clinic like this.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? I'd just like to thank your department. No, I have one comment. It's your department for our Health Day event in Casey. It was a success with the help of my Councilwoman De Jesus. We did get to interact with a lot of the community there. Hackensack Meridian was out. The library was out. You were offering, COVID shots that day, and I went for my free testing. Did you make it out, Councilwoman?
I did. I didn't like it, but I did. One thing that they did do was Peter Barcelona was there, and I don't think we realize that there are residents in Woodbridge that can't afford fresh produce. And you guys provided fresh produce that day, and especially the elderly that are on a fixed income, they were so happy with the fresh produce being there and that you gave it to them for free. And those are the things that a lot of people don't see and don't realize. And I'm very fortunate to be sitting here on council when I see how our employees go far and beyond to meet the needs of all of our residents. And that was a very monumental day for me. So, thank you. It's not a big enough word to say how much I appreciate the work that the whole department does.
Thank you. And to your specific point on the food insecurity, Peter Barcelona, he has been in charge of the We Feed program. He just works tirelessly day in, day out for that. And that event that you described, it goes shows the diversity and the multifacetedness of the services we provide. And we continue to try to improve and grow every year once we learn what the community needs that we might be missing.
We're going to continue with Mr. Bajowski going into the Animal Control Division. S&W is page 43, 110 through 113 on OE.
Any questions, comments?
Not, we'll continue with him as well with the Environmental Division, S&W page 45, and OE 115 through 118.
Any questions, comments?
Just one question. Phil, I asked this question in advance and I got the answer. However, I brought the wrong phone, so I can't read the answer you gave on this. So I'm going to ask the question. On page 116, line 3600, overtime, and I don't normally ask questions about salaries because they're all contractual, but in 2022, we requested 70,000 and we spent 135,000, and we're coming back and requesting 70,000 again. I just want to, is it enough, or,
What we do is we keep that a flat amount, and if we go over that, we take it out of salaries and wages.
Okay. That was probably the answer that's on my phone that I left at home. Thank you.
We're going to continue with Mr. Bajowski also. We'll take the final two, Nursing Division and Drug Addiction Services. Nursing is S&W is 46, and then OE is 107 through 110. And then while we're at Drug Addiction Services, 54 on S&W, 134 through 136 OE.
Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Bajowski.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. We're going to go into the Department of Senior Services, and this is Michelle Morgan. We'll be beginning with the Office of Aging. S&W is page 47, and OE pages 126 through 128. This is Michelle Morgan.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you doing? Any questions, comments, Mr. Morgan?
Ms. Morgan, I just want to thank you for the senior booklet. The comprehensive information that our seniors rely on. I know that Councilman Vaccaro has mentioned it at several meetings. It's been very informative, and I know that I refer many of the seniors that I know to the services and refer them to that booklet. Also, if you could perhaps elaborate a little bit on the Senior Summit that's coming up.
So the Mayor's Senior Summit, after a 2-year pause due to the pandemic, the Mayor's Senior Summit is a place where seniors and caregivers can go to and interact personally with a variety of exhibitors. What the Department of Senior Services chose to do this year is to highlight not just municipal senior services, but also county and state departments. For example, we had Veterans Affairs there, the Surrogate's Office, the Middlesex County Board of Social Services, Adult Protective Services, any agency that would provide a service or a program to the seniors of our community, we invited them to go there. So that whatever services are out there, and not just at a municipal level, but from a county, state, and federal level, we want to bring those services into our town for our seniors and caregivers.
Thank you. And this budget that we're introducing a 0% increase impacts that group of citizens and residents the most. When they're on a fixed income and they're still living in their homes, this is at a time where it's most impactful, but being able to still deliver the same services to our seniors throughout that is very important. So thank you very much for working with our administration in ensuring that.
Thank you. The directory, along with the Senior Summit, is really a way to bring services to give the financial independence that our seniors need to remain living in our community, in their own home, and the kinds of services, financial support services, so that we can continue to keep them here in our community and very safe.
Sure, and I do advertise through my office the income tax preparation assistance that is available to our seniors and lower income. So thank you very much for being able to offer that to those citizens.
Thank you very much. The directory is available at all of our senior centers with the Division on Aging and, of course, on our township website. In the last 5 months, we've passed out 2,200 of them, which is a wonderful resource for our seniors. And at the Senior Summit, we had 52 exhibitors, and we had almost 300 older adults come through those doors, which is really the purpose of this department.
Mr. Morgan, also I'd like to thank you for the Oak Tree Senior Center. We just opened on Route 27. I mean, I have visited like a few times there. There are great services being offered, so thank you for that. It looks great.
Thank you. That's the vision of the mayor. He really wanted to approach that community, and that's the goal, which is for it to be a location for that senior community to go and visit and enjoy. It's an extension of what our department wishes to do and the mayor's vision.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. Councilman.
Mr. President, Michelle, I just wanted to also thank you for the efficiency in which you run your department in the financial way, but yet it's such a big impact. Also, I'd just like to point out, it just seems that when we're dealing with the homeless population, even though they may not be seniors, somehow that winds up in your lap. And we do appreciate that, because it's not just a matter of displacing or moving the seniors somewhere else. It's trying to get them involved in social services, and I see that stream of emails, and your name is always on there. So it's almost like your senior department is a misnomer, because it's a little bit bigger than that. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to point that out, and thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I do have excellent people that work with me.
Other questions, comments? Will? Well, I have one comment. Just like personally thank you and your staff for always attending our local events, because of the one in Caseby. A lot of times our seniors don't know the services that we provide that they can actually use. And one was a busing, and with the help of my councilmate here translating, we signed up a senior in the Caseby apartment complex, the use of she has no family, she has no really way to get around, but with your services, your staff coming and presenting this to the public, they have the opportunity to be involved in the senior centers, busing, and everything else you do. I mean, I know we just purchased some new buses. How many trips do we roughly do, a day?
So with senior transportation, last August we did acquire 2 new vehicles, and I could tell you that within the last 7 months we did 12,700 trips, which is a 70% increase from last year around the same time frame, which really speaks volumes of the commitment of the people that I work with. We have other municipalities in Union County that have reached out to us and to senior transportation to learn a little bit more about how we perform our senior transportation services in terms of our daily operations, scheduling, our fleet maintenance. So we feel proud to be a good role model, and we're always open to learning. Senior transportation also, during the pandemic, there was absolutely no interruption in service. We had our drivers in every single day, from delivering meals and providing transportation to our seniors, grocery shopping, doctors, and our senior centers.
While we have Mrs. Morgan here, I know we touched on a little bit, but we also have the budgets for the Senior Transportation Division and the 6 senior centers, in case anybody has any questions on them, but I know you touched on them, I think, already.
Council President?
Yes.
Not a question, just a comment. We're hitting the 1-year anniversary for Maple Tree Senior Center. As of today, we have 229 residents enrolled. I've always said years that was one of my biggest goals. I want to thank you and your staff for the great job they do there, as well as all of our senior centers, but also the mayor, Carol, and the administration for letting kind of just, I've wanted this. You know, a lot of the members there, I played Little League and Manhunt with the members there, with their kids, so it's just a fantastic, to see them walking from Maple Tree Manor down to Maple Tree Senior Center is just, you know, it's what I always wanted, so I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Our senior centers, and considering our municipality to have 6 of them, is really a tribute to the mayor's commitment and the support of the council as well. And just to let you know that because of your support, we have had tremendous enhanced outcomes and efficiency of our department, and that in the last 7 months, we've seen a 150% increase in membership and attendance to our senior centers in comparison to last year in the same time frame. And if I go back to 2019, for most of our senior centers, and this is pre-COVID, we've had a 54% increase. So it's great. I do have wonderful staff, and we have a great support in a mayor and an administration that really pays attention to the older adult population. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan. We're going to go into the Department of Public Works. Mr. George Brew, the director.
Mr. President, can we stand up? Because we've been here for an hour on these hard chairs. Thank you.
Stretching out. Stretching. He can be you.
It's the chairs.
Maybe it's thing, I don't know.
All right, stretch. It's all stretch.
What are you doing?
Can I get a motion to take a 5-minute recess?
Oh, motion.
Right. Right, can I get a motion? Okay. Okay, can I get a motion to resume the meeting?
Motion.
We're back on. Mr. President, we're going to begin with Public Works this evening. This portion, Mr. Brew, Office of the Director, S&W, page 16, 42 through 44 on OE.
Any questions or comments for Director Brew?
It's just on his direct office.
Council President?
Yes.
Just a statement. It seems like every year we have a budget meeting, and every year we've had something. This year, Hurricane Ida, and we'll always have the snowstorm, and it'd be nice for the 1 year without snowstorm, but I just, you know, we say it every year to, you know, your staff is just unbelievable. You know, during the height of the storm, your staff is out there doing work. They're not waiting for the last raindrop to end or the last snowflake, but just an incredible job. And then, especially getting out there the very next day and just starting to collect all the debris from residents' houses and basements. Just an incredible job as always. So I just wanted to go say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, Council?
Well, I would like to also thank Mr. Drew. You know, as I said, you appreciate that. I think we have been doing a really great job in, especially I can talk about the 4th Ward, you know, there are many rebuilding jobs going on. Isabel Street, Ford Avenue, in like Mellowback Parish. We are also, I think, building sidewalks, School 19. And I'd like to also thank you for filling those parking spaces at Presbyterian Church. I think Mr. Jardine and you guys can work together, but that's also very well appreciated. So I think the cameras, we are also putting cameras there. And we are also putting 35 extra parking spaces on Marconi Avenue. I think it's a new parking lot.
Yes.
So that's going to be greatly appreciated by Oakley Road Business Community. So again, thank you. And actually, newly sidewalk we put up on Middlesex Avenue, leading to Merrill Park. That's also a great job being done. So thank you for those projects.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Mr. Brew, I would like to thank you and your team And I know Councilwoman Meehan is not here, she's away. But during Hurricane Ida, as Councilman Spiller pointed out, Colonia was hit hard. Hit very, very hard, and there were residents that were in despair, and our public works was really their knight in shining armor. I mean, not to take it lightly. I mean, there were residents that were underwater, obviously, and their home, their belongings, everything was out on the street. I live off of Jordan Avenue, and the entire Jordan Road had all of their belongings on their front lawn. And our Public Works Department was there for them, and really did it with a lot of professionalism, kindness, and sensitivity during that time. And that was very important, knowing that we're dealing with not only COVID and a lot of emotional issues are going on at that time, then to have that type of a catastrophe, we relied on our public works, and your men came through. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Council President, if I may, I mean, you know, it's the support of the council, the administration, the mayor, collectively working together with us, making sure we have the equipment, all the equipment, you know, that we do have. And you see when we do have these big storm or events, we pretty much use it all. It's not like anything sits idle, and it's, you know, thanks to everyone on the council that supports us, allows us to purchase the equipment we need. We're very fortunate, you know, right now our fleet is in good shape, so you know, these trying times are very difficult to get parts, materials, vehicles. Our fleet's sound, you know, our equipment repair, everyone does a good job with keeping up with the fleet, and it's very important in times like this when we don't have, you know, other towns are struggling because they just don't have the fleet or the vehicles, and they just can't keep up. You know, parts are very difficult to get now. So, you know, we're very fortunate. It's thanks to everybody that, you know, supports us in Public Works. And as well as the staffing, I mean, you know, the employees that we have are second to none. And again, it's the support of the administration and the council that allows us to hire these people and keep them working and keep them happy. So thank you to all of you.
George, I'd like to personally thank you and your staff. You know, living in New Jersey, we have 4 seasons, and every season's a challenge, and you guys take that challenge head on. And like your leadership, department heads, and your staff, like you said, they're second to none, and we thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Okay, beginning with the engineering division, if you'll take a look at S&W page 17, OE 45 through 48, if we have any questions under engineering.
I have a question. It's not in the budget, but in response to Hurricane Ida, I worked with Mr. Gelling regarding the stream behind Barron Avenue. Could you tell us a little bit about the stream cleaning aspect and the initiative that your department has taken?
Right. We do have a comprehensive stream cleaning as a preventive maintenance. We work close with DEP to assure that we have permitting in process. Currently, DPW is working with South Branch to clean the stream. We did work on Pumpkin Patch. Next, we are moving to Hertzburg. We're going to do the entire Hertzburg. We do have permitting for it. That's all part of the preventive maintenance. Make sure that the stream is clear in the event of storm event.
Thank you.
Councilwoman, we currently have 6 projects in the planning stages with our engineer firms, with our outside engineer firms for those stream cleaning processes. They're in the middle of putting together those plans along with applications for the permits from DEP. So Michael and George, Director Brew and his staff have done an exceptional job in keeping up with it and keeping it moving forward. So I appreciate the question.
It's just to give our residents a peace of mind, especially those that live in those areas that have been affected in the past, to know that there is an initiative and there is a proactive measure to make sure that that doesn't pose a threat to their homes. So thank you for the work.
We're on it.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, Councilwoman.
Mr. Gellin, can you please tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Route 9 and the Main Street project?
Yes, that's one of the largest projects the township is embarking. And we are poised, we just had a meeting with internally to advertise this big project. The project entails widening Main Street and Route 9 to ensure traffic is flowing freely, especially during peak hours. It's about $12 million project that, thanks to the speaker and the mayor, that DOT awarded us this $12 million project that will soon begin sometimes in October.
Thank you.
We'll go into road repairs and maintenance, S&W 18 through 19, OE 49 through 52.
Any questions, comments? I have this a comment. Coming on the council, first few questions I got from the public was always about when's my road getting paved? And we have a comprehensive road paving every year, and I just thank the administration, Department of Public Works, and everybody involved that comes out, will check the streets and talk to the resident and say why we are doing or not doing. And like Mr. Gellin, Mr. Brew, and the staff, we can't thank you enough. And we just purchased 2 more properties on New Brunswick Avenue and Fords, making this that'll be our 3rd parking district zone down there in New Brunswick Avenue. And with the help of the DPW, clearing the lots and paving it, saving our taxpayers a lot of money because these guys are highly qualified to do the job. And I just thank everyone out there that takes the time, really listens to our residents and help improve our communities. I appreciate all you do. Any other comments, questions?
I feel the same way. I think that they've done a great job paving all the roads out there that I've seen out there, and I appreciate the work that they did at Trinity Lane. That's helped the traffic slow down, so it's not, there's not so much speeding there with the modification of the road there, so thank you very much for that also.
Go into snow removal and calamities, S&W 20, 53 through 55 on OE.
Questions, comments? I have one question under snow calamity, page 54, a decrease of $100,000 in the budget, which is always a good thing, but I think it's under replace parts, and it flips over from the page before 53 to 54. Is that because we have a newer fleet, less maintenance?
Council President, so there is some of the funding from that is going to be charged off to a different account.
Okay.
For vehicle replacement parts. We did get a lot of inventory last year, anticipating, shortfalls.
Slow down production.
So we're gonna just stick with that number now, and we'll see how we do. We may have to make adjustments.
Okay. Thank you.
Throughout the year.
Any other questions, comments?
Going to street cleaning, S&W 21 and 55 through 56 on OE.
Questions, comments?
Go through. Unless I'm going too quick, equipment repair, S&W is 22 on and 57 through 60 on OE.
Council President?
Yes.
Not a question, but I've probably been to DPW as many times as everyone up here, countless times, but I had to swap out vehicles, and I was in equipment repair earlier on in the year, and I was just so taken back out the whole process. And I don't really think the residents know how much money is being saved by the crew, the staff at equipment repair. Director Brew, you can't put a dollar on it per se, but just real quick, how much do you think we're saving by us doing all our own vehicle repair maintenance?
It's a little difficult just to pinpoint the number, but when you look at our overall operation, just the money we save versus dealer or outside sources, labor rates are pretty high right now. They continue to go up. And then another big savings for us is the fact that we buy our parts through either state contract, cooperative pricing agreements. We have a lot of resources that enable us to get very large discounts on our parts, somewhere 40 to 60% discount. So that's a big savings for us as well, because, if we were going outsourcing that, we'd be paying full list price on the parts. So, yeah, it's a big cost savings as well. And then, the other thing with that is we can prioritize these vehicles as we need them fixed. So we can really, if it's a sanitation truck, it's in our shop, we dictate when it's going to get repaired. We're not in a rotating schedule of, it could be 2 to 3 weeks. So that's a big savings for us as well.
So, Council President, just to speak to Director Brew was saying, we currently have 67 interlocals agreements with neighboring towns. Right now, we have several of those towns that have reached out to us and asked us to help them with vehicles because they have vehicles broken down that they either can't get parts for or they're on the list to have them repaired. So we're literally helping other townships because we're that much better prepared.
Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you, George. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? We'll move into sanitation. S&W 23 through 24 and OE 61 through 64.
Question on page 63, 4995, other outside services, which is also a good thing, a decrease of $30,000. What were the other outside services referred to?
Oh, so that was, we did software upgrade, and that was a one-time service fee.
Okay.
We spread it out amongst other budgets at this time, but that was a one-time fee.
Okay, thank you. Other questions, comments?
We'll go into buildings and grounds, S&W 25, OE 66 through 68.
Questions, comments?
Parks maintenance, S&W page 59, OE 119 through 122.
Questions, comments?
Personally, on the parks part, I just want to thank you guys for doing a great job of taking care of all the parks. I don't know why, but I have a lot of people who have little kids, and I know all these people have little kids, and they love all the parks that we have, and we appreciate keeping them clean, going out there when there's a problem, replacing and repairing the parts, and it's just great for them, and we appreciate all the support in the parks. Can you also just, with the bike share program, we think that that's a great idea out there. A lot of people are renting the bike share, so if you could just let us know, there's a bunch of new bike shares out there, so you can let us know where they are and how everything works with that.
All right, so that's reflected in the parks budget. So we have bikes in Seawarren, in Fords, Island, Avenel, Colonia, Hope Lawn, and Woodbridge proper. So the bike share program is, it's great, and we've had we're close to 7,000 users on the bike share program. So, it's a great feature. People come in, it's a free use, it's a rental fee. Use a credit card to, in case there's damage or to ensure that the bike is returned. And like I said, it's very successful, it's getting a lot of use. It is a large maintenance task for the Parks Department, tracking bikes down and getting them. People are starting to get it, though. They're bringing them back to where they're supposed to be. It is a maintenance issue, but again, it gets a lot of use. So 7,000 uses versus a few problems we have is definitely worth it. And I'm sure we'll probably be expanding that program as we go forward.
Thank you.
Thank Bobby Higgins for that.
And that note, can I think ahead of time, because my Hispanic Heritage Festival will be on Main Street this year. So it's not in a park per se, And I know that they've reached out to Bobby Higgins regarding the flags. Every year we, for the Hispanic Festival, we showcase the Latin America flags. And this year it's gonna be on Main Street, and we're coming up with some sort of idea on how to showcase them. So I just want to thank you ahead of time, because I know that this is a new venture on Main Street. But other than that, I don't think people realize that even for the everyday concert, how the departments work together. Recreation works with Public Works, with the parks. All of our departments work together for our residents to enjoy the great shows that they do, whether it be a concert at Woodbridge High School or a street fair. Thank you for the work that you do, because you guys are always right on point and right on time, and always willing to help from the beginning of the event to the end of the event. So thank you.
And that is, Councilwoman, that is a collective effort between all the divisions. You know, whether it's buildings and grounds, sanitation, roads, everybody has got a hand into all the events that goes on. Street sweeping for after the event. It just, all hands are on deck and everyone works well together.
We'll go into school custodians, Councilman.
Just one quick thank you, George, for that outdoor fitness equipment program that we have throughout the town that seems to grow every year and is so popular. We appreciate that. We've come a long way from that road trip that you and I took up to Bayonne so many years ago.
Yes, we have.
We were first investigating that, but I think that's a fabulous program. And the fact that our team installs it and maintains it is just absolutely incredible. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Again, schools custodians, S&W 26 through 28, and OE 68 through 70.
Any questions, comments?
Quick comment.
Yes.
Just in general, our facilities at our schools are so tremendous that I know that from my retired days as an athletic director, the Woodbridge schools are always a go-to place for various tournaments, not just for our kids. And our staff and custodians are always out there putting our best foot forward. So once again, an opportunity to say thank you and a job well done.
Any comments, questions?
Going into the sewer budget, we'll take sewer maintenance, wastewater, and sewer treatment, and the sewer site for CP Chemical. Salary and wages, pages 85 through 87, and OE starting with 185 and going through 195. Sewer maintenance, wastewater, treatment, and CP.
Questions, comments?
Just want to say thank you very much. I see firsthand every morning, living a few houses away from Pump Station, how early our crews are out there, how quiet they are to the neighborhood. So although, you know, when I'm up in the morning and I see them passing and usually get away from the gentleman there, I think it's great for our neighborhood to know that not only do we have something that is servicing our neighborhood, but it's very seamlessly treated, and the maintenance of it goes really without a major disruption to our morning hours. So thank you very much.
So we had a council for a day. Was the students from the high schools were council for people for a day, and we answered questions. And one of the things I brought up to them was, when you turn the faucet on and you brush your teeth in the morning, the first people you visit are our wastewater employees. So they do a great job, but it is the first people that get visited. That's right. In most houses.
I can't follow up on that. All right.
Just any more comments?
The student council for the day, they appreciated it.
Ms. Council.
Page 192. I just have a question. That's 5360. It seems like every year we budget the same amount, but every year we use more. So why don't we ask for more in the requested amount as we go on? It would sit at 5360.
Page. Right here, read on 192.
Sometimes you flush the toilet. Right?
Yeah.
Figure that one.
Sets a MCUA charge, it's for sewer. It is a surcharge from them. Which one?
5160.
Oh, sewage treatment, sorry.
60, she's underwater.
Line above it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Page 192.
Page 192.
Like about water.
Good question.
So, Councilman, some of these bills for this account were posted after we had set this budget. You know, we didn't anticipate it to be quite as high as it was. We were trying to hold fast with that 56,000. I think we're going to have to make adjustments with this as we go through the year and reflect that better at the end of this budget.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I think we'll hold the MCUA and RVSA till we get to the controller, right? Okay, thank you, Mr. Brew. We're going to go into recreation. Mr. Molnar. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yes,
Thank you.
Guys,
So, have a good night. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
We will begin with the recreation,
Is that your pen?
page 60 S&W, and OE pages 123 through 126.
Any questions or comments? Good evening, guys. Any question, Councilwoman?
On page 124, other outside services. 4995. I submitted the question and it was answered, but if you could just.
Yeah, so that's for our contributions to the WTYRC, the Seawarren Library. That's out of traditional rec line.
Any questions?
On that issue, I just wanted, or that topic, I would like to thank our Recreation Department, being a leader of a 501c3 volunteer organization. Not only does that seed money help all of our organizations, but in comparison to other townships, it's a significant savings, whereas I know that our Recreation Department is beginning to take on more of a role with our recreation as we start to deplete. Volunteerism isn't up as much. There's still a significant savings when volunteers are running many of our youth programs. That said, I do want to acknowledge the baseball and the basketball programs that the Recreation Department has taken on. The level of participation, the registrations have only increased. We're getting full usage out of all of the courts that we see at Acacia and all of our other courts, and the upkeep of those basketball courts around Woodbridge Township has been something that all of our residents can count on as a source of recreation. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I'll just hold the floor for one more minute. I just want to say the addition of the Jazz Thursdays for the fall, knowing that we have a 0% rate increase in our budget, and being able to add to our concert schedule for the fall, it's going to open up. I think not everybody's into jazz, but it's going to now bring out a whole new audience of people, and the lineup that we have is really something that the jazz community is really going to look forward to. So thank you very much for that insight and initiative.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. As you had mentioned, the Recreation Department consolidating the sports to be more recreation-based than in the past, where you had travel that, kind of took over, the concept of Little League and the basketball leagues and everything. And you're right, we are, by the township, by the Recreation Department taking it over, we actually have made it more affordable for families. I mean, it could have cost a family $120 for a child to play baseball. Now they can play for $50. So it's more affordable. And it also gives us an opportunity, more opportunity for children to get involved. I think when you have a pure recreation program, we were able to put in clinics, we were able to put where we could teach the fundamentals of the game for a child who's never dribbled a ball or kicked a soccer ball or put a baseball glove on. This is who we want to service. We want, because there could be kids out there that fall in love with this game but never wanted to try it because they were intimidated. And the mayor had a great vision of this, and Bobby Tominski from the rec department did a fabulous job putting these programs together. We went basically, from 767 kids total playing baseball and softball. After we took it over, we had 800 baseball players, over 350 softball players. So that number did rise by, just being able to give children more opportunity to play, basketball, soccer. This year, we started an indoor volleyball league for the first time. We do have volleyball in the middle schools and high schools, but we never had that feeder program to get children interested in the sport and then bring them through. So we started volleyball. We had very good numbers. Soccer, we gave more opportunity to play. We do an indoor winter soccer league. We did this year over 350 children. So, yeah, it's about opportunities and recreation, giving our residents more opportunities to do things. And, the sports program is a great example of that. And then you mentioned the jazz concerts. Woodbridge is basically known as the concert capital of the state of New Jersey. And just different genre of music now we get to bring into the fold. And we're looking forward to it, and we're excited about it.
Thank you. And I'd also like to thank you for your support for the last 2 years with the Juneteenth event. I know I can count on you to not only set up a call with the DPW and the police, and the Recreation Department has been the foundation of setting up that entire event with me and working with my organization to make sure that we have a good event. We look forward to that next year as well.
Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Well, Mr. Molnar, I would like to also thank you for those 2 great events we do, especially, those Islin and area residents, they enjoy 2 festivals. One is that Ganesha festival that usually happens in, I think, September. And Indian Business Association, they organize every year that IGA parade called India's Independence Day Parade. And thanks for helping those 2 great events. It draws a huge number of crowd. And
You're very welcome. Yeah, we've been working on that this week too. So
oh yeah, it's coming on.
Yeah, so we're ready to go.
Yes, I think weather is coming out really great, so it's not going to be that hot.
Thank you.
On to celebration of public events. OE 148 through 150.
Any questions, comments?
The Community Center, S&W pages 63 through 72, and OE 200 through 220.
Council President, just a comment, Director. I had asked the question and got the answer on specifically the roller rink, 8220, page 210. equipment replacement, line 4306. There's a request for $45,000, so I asked on that, and I got my answer, and the redoing of the roller rink floor. And my comment on that is that it never ceases to amaze me how that roller rink can be transformed from a roller rink to a very elegant facility where we host our Hall of Fame banquets. So the versatility of that room, and the floor has a lot to do with, of course, the space and the lights and the sound. Likewise with the pavilion in the back. They're just incredible spaces and a great opportunity for the public to take advantage of these things. So money well spent, and thank you for the explanation.
Thank you.
Questions or comments? Question on page 206, 4515, increase in maintenance contracts. What maintenance are we talking about? Is it equipment, building?
Okay. Yeah, that we're getting a new pool dehumidification system.
Okay, thank you. Other questions?
And that's the contract.
Thank you.
We'll go into the Barron Arts Center, S&W page 13, OE 23 through 25.
Questions, comments?
Springwood and Highland Grove pools, S&W page 73. Yes.
Is the gallery on Main in part of the Barron Arts Center?
No, that falls under more traditional rec.
Thank you.
Sorry, Springwood and Highland Grove pools, 73 S&W, and then the OE pages 220 through 226.
Questions, comments? Page 220, 5295 miscellaneous expense, raise from 4,000 to 20,000. Can you explain the miscellaneous expense, please?
Yeah, we had to do WCC. We had to do some new door replacements.
Thank you.
We could just go back to the pool real quick. I would just like to thank the mayor, the administration, and the council for having the vision of purchasing Springwood. I mean, for years, the recreation department, we ran two pools. We had Bowtie and we had Highland Grove. And, you know, we closed Bowtie several years ago, and just Springwood just took off for us. I mean, I think we've more than doubled our membership from the old Springwood Swim Club. So it has been received very, very well by the public. And even Highland Grove, our numbers have been steadily increasing. Even like during COVID and after COVID, our numbers are going up about 100 members every year. So thank you for all your support with helping us being able to run the pools.
Recreation centers, page 74 S&W and 227 through 230 on OE.
Any questions, comments?
The club at Woodbridge, S&W pages 75 through 82, and OE pages 230 to 244.
Any questions, comments? Page 235, 3515, salary seasonal. I see a huge increase in that line item. Could you explain the increase, please?
235.
3515, page 235.
That is for childcare.
Childcare, okay, thank you.
That's preschool We've had an increase in our numbers in preschool, and our camp this year was maxed out.
So coming out of COVID, more people are putting their kids back into our...
Oh, exactly, too. All our camps that we ran this year, the Kid Sports Camp was at maximum. The WCC camp was sold out for all 10 weeks. Merrill Park Camp was sold out all 6 weeks. So parents are looking for a childcare option. You're exactly right, after COVID. Everyone's back to work, and childcare is needed.
Thank you. Any other questions?
We'll take the youth centers now, Evergreen, Highland Grove, and Acacia. S&W pages 50 through 52, and starting at 132, various pages up to 145 on the 3 youth centers.
I just have a comment.
Yes.
And, for many years, we only had the Evergreen Youth Center. And the question was, what teens or what youth are we really servicing when most of our kids can't get to it? And I want to thank the mayor, the administration, Department of Recreation for the vision to increase the number of youth centers, because now we have Highland Grove and Ford's, and the Acacia Youth Center right on Port Reading Avenue has been a huge asset. Now it's safe places for our kids to go, especially middle school age kids, and the parents should know that after school they can go there. But also the increase of programming that you continue to do and improve on at these youth centers by having designated nights for each middle school. I think it's great. You are providing safe places for our youth to interact with one another and for the parents not to worry too much. So I think that these are valuable assets for our residents in our community. So thank you to all of your staff for the work and the time that they put in, and especially to come up with continuous new ideas to keep this genre interested. And, I didn't say thank you, but, the Hispanic Heritage Festival is something that your department, Eileen Caggiano and I are attached at the hip during the planning stages and during the event. And we do have to thank Eileen because, she runs the farmers market, which is through your department. And she's there every Saturday getting the vendors. And just every Saturday, she's there regardless of whether it's hot, not hot. She's there to make sure that the vendors are taken care of and that any issues that arise are addressed. And with the Hispanic Heritage Festival, this being the first time that we're doing it on Main Street, thank you for helping me with the vision that I have and implementing it. I think it's going to be a great event. We do have a live band coming, and we wouldn't be able to make our ideas realities without you guys helping us with it. So it's really appreciated, the time and the work that you do.
Thank you, Councilwoman DeJesus, and thank you for your kind words for Eileen Caggiano. She is our event coordinator. She is at all those events, as you mentioned, making sure that farmers market runs smooth. It does run from June into the fall, into October. And, it is a monumental task trying to get all these vendors to come back and to, have them keep coming back because, they deal with different markets and everything like that. And, she does a good job for us in our other programming, working side by side with you, as you mentioned, for the Hispanic Cultural Day. And we look forward to that day coming up. And, whatever you need from us, our department will be there. But just to touch on the youth centers, Shirley Genty and Brianne Ludlow, who run our youth services side, by having these centers set up now the way we do, and that's just another vision by the mayor, the administration, and the council for allowing us to do this. We are able to build up on programs like Heroes and Cool Kids and, bringing back the Youth Leadership Council. And you're right, middle school is a hard age. Children are getting that independence where they don't, they want to get home from school and they're old enough to be alone and, not have that guidance till mom and dad get home, and being able to get them in there involved in activities and, trying to teach them life lessons while they're at the youth center, writing a resume, coming up with stuff like that, some job training, because they're in that employment age where they could, maybe one day be a playground counselor for us or a camp counselor for us. And these are the things that we're trying to work with that group. And they do a fabulous job.
We'll take the last two items, 86 Green Street and 127 Avenel Street, OE pages 145 through 148.
Questions, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Molnar.
Thank you.
Mr. Simaluka, you want to go back to page 1? You want to
Yeah.
start from there?
Absolutely.
So we'll now go to the administration and finance, beginning with the Office of the Business Administrator. S&W page 4, OE pages 12 through 16.
Any questions, comments?
Followed by the Office of the Mayor, S&W page 1, OE pages 1 through 4.
Any questions, comments?
To the Law Department, S&W pages 14 through 15, OE 39 through 41.
Question on page 14, I saw this on another page too, a huge increase in printing. I know my own printer at home, ink is ridiculous price right now, so are we printing more, or is the price of the ink and toner and everything just going out the roof?
Mr. Haggard, answer that.
Printing is outrageous. With supply and demand, our paper costs have gone sky high. We're having difficulties having our printers actually obtain the materials they need to print, and we are getting lesser quality materials for printing. But yeah, our demand for printing is going up demonstrably, and the costs are right with it as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
We'll go to the Comptroller's budget, S&W page 9, and OE is 30 through 32.
Questions or comments?
And he'll also take questions from the sewer budget on MCUA and RVSA, page 192.
Any questions, comments?
On the municipal council budget, S&W page 2, OE page 4 and 5.
Any questions?
On the municipal clerk's budget, S&W page 3, OE pages 8 through 10.
Any questions? Comments? I'd just like to thank Mr. Mitch for all your support during this budget sessions. Thank you for your guidance to all throughout the year. You know, you're always there for us, and thank you for all you do. Any other questions, comments? Yes, Councilman. Anybody?
Oh, finally.
Yeah, absolutely. Council President, if you will, I would just like to make a few comments. Your comments today towards the directors and the division heads of Woodbridge Township is nothing but amazing. I truly appreciate it. I listened to everything that you said to them as they laid out their projects and plans before you for this coming year and this coming budget. That is a direct reflection on not only the council members that sit here, that give us that opportunity financially and the support to do those projects, but also the Mayor McCormac, and his vision. So we truly appreciate that. And I heard those messages over and over again about the projects laid out before you and the Mayor's vision. So I want to thank you for that. There's also a few folks that sitting right here. They're kind of some unsung heroes that I just want to thank. This is a monumental task. Putting together a budget for one of the largest communities in New Jersey. We have support from the state, we have support from the county, but we also have support from our residents. So, and this comes back to the folks that sit here. Our CFO, Manny Fernandez, his deputy CFO, Mike Klepchak, financial department, Katie Mullen, who sits behind us here, our deputy business administrator, Casey Wagner, who's done a fantastic job. Our communications director, John Haggerty, of course, our chief of staff, Carolyn Ehrlich. These folks do an outstanding job day after day, and I work with them. The effort that they put in and the dedication that they give is second to none. So I just want to thank them for their efforts and tell you that this is the #1 staff in the state. There's no doubt about it, possibly the country. I'm amazed by what they do every day. So I want to thank them for that because they make my job a whole lot easier. So again, I want to thank Mayor McCormac for his vision and his opportunity to give me this chance. So thank you, folks. Appreciate everyone. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Any comments?
Mr. President, yes. I wanted to make a comment. I was hoping to do it before you did the closer because I think you should do that. But I tried to curb a lot of my questions, but I wanted to point out that through this, again, through Manny, Michael, Casey, Katie, the efforts that you've put together, and I know it's outside of the, and I'm kind of framing this around the people that are underserved that we're trying to address. But through the use of our CDBG funds, which are not really part of the budget, we're serving homeless prevention, expanding relationships with other social services. We invested big money in housing for cases of domestic violence and, again, homelessness prevention. Councilwoman De Jesus talked about the mobile health units where we're taking medical screening to the people where it's needed. The Woodbridge Community Center and the club expanding membership, kids camp, fitness, outdoor equipment, rec programs. All of these are generating funds. Director Darden mentioned using our trust fund to help qualified folks with rehabbing their homes. The support from our police department and the funding for continued expansion of the way that our officers interact with people who have mental health issues. All of these services and opportunities have either been continued or expanded. And it's been mentioned by Councilman Anderson a number of times and not pointed out enough. All of this and everything that everybody talked about and was presented today has been presented for this year with no increase. No increase. That is somewhat historic for any town. Congratulations, bravo to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I have one last comment before we adjourn tonight. Okay, special thanks to our CFO, Manny Fernandez, and his staff, Business Administrator Vito Zimiluka, and your staff, Mayor McCormac, Chief of Staff Karen Ehrlich, our rest of our administration, department heads, and all those involved in supplying us with a sound budget for our next fiscal year, benefiting not only our residents, but also our employees. A zero tax increase budget was introduced tonight, the first one in over 20 years. This is probably due to our economic development, our pilot programs throughout the township, and all your hard work. All you St. Lefty and your staff, thank you for all you do. And thank you for presenting us this good budget for sound fiscal year 2023. Thank you.
Thank
you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.